Good morning, good evening, and good night to everyone out there on the internet, whether you're listening to the podcast or the YouTube show. Once again, it's time for Lancing with myself with Steve D as your host, the 5 minute show where I take a little time out of the week to talk about game design and give you just a bit of inspiration, some guides and tips and tools, especially if you're low on spoons and low on cash, which so many of us are in these terrible times of pandemic. Today, I want to talk about jobs. You might be losing your job. You might be looking at changing your job. Your job might be changing. I want to talk about putting game design and gaming on your resume. Now, of course, it's a bit of a joke, I play D&D, therefore I can organize meetings and get synergy and get everyone agreeing on a goal around the table. But it's not actually a joke. Gaming is an incredible activity. It involves empathy, it involves communication, it involves working on multiple different levels, and it's very easy for gaming to get looked down on. I mean, like any nerd activity, we can get way too excited about it and not really be able to explain to other people why we love it. But gaming, I think, is really something that's becoming more and more popular, and people are getting not just that board games are shooting into the mainstream and being more bought, but people are getting that play is part of who we are as human beings, and it's a really important experience, and it's a way that we can connect in a very different way than we can over a movie or a book or a piece of art. It is interactive art, or rather, I like to say art is a non-interactive game, and as such, it brings together, all these incredible skills, and being interested in games and passionate games means you understand psychology, but also mathematics and multiple levels of reality and how these things interrelate. And you're good at figuring out goals, you're good at planning things. More and more there are people who are using games and game-like ideas to deal with really complicated subjects and to talk about those subjects, understand multiple stakeholders, and then bring all those ideas together to make powerful decisions on a short amount of time with limited information. And that's what gaming is. You usually don't have perfect information. You have some ideas about the future. You can only anticipate so much. You take that information, you look at the options available, you try to make the best possible choice at the best possible time. And that's an incredible skill to have. Whether that's on like a high level complex Euro game, or if it's just a social game, the same idea is being put in play, where you have to look at the possibilities, make choices, take decisive action, and push towards some goal, whether it's competitive or collaborative. And if you're a designer, then you are pulling apart those building blocks of this incredible experience, right? Not only are you someone who is able to play games and operate through that space, but you're creating them. You're creating these experiences for other people, and that means you have to be able to take all those wheels apart and fundamentally understand how other people do these things, how other people make calculations about maths and risk and probability. You have to understand psychology and how social groups work together. You have to understand how ideas are communicated through graphical information and through spoken word and through between different people. You've got to understand different points of view. You've got to understand how to unite those points of view and give people enough information so they can control spaces. You've got to understand how to give people control, how to take control away, how to make things harder, make things easier, and how to create situations where there are interesting puzzles and interesting interactions. So that means really understanding how to balance these kind of things, how to get these different viewpoints and these different pieces of information and put them into a similar place so that they can be torn apart and discussed. And that seems to me like the most important skills that you could possibly have for a job. So, don't be too shy about your gaming. Obviously, people can go on too much and you can be a terribly boring nerd, but don't hide yourself under a bushel, especially not now. Not as now as gaming is starting to actually become popular and understood and sexy and in demand. I think the 21st century is going to be the age where people are looking for game experiences all the time, not just to entertain, but to educate and to solve some of the biggest problems in the world. So if you're a game designer, you want to wear that proudly. Put it in your resume and put gamer in there as well. And talk about those experiences. Talk about how you break down these incredible things and give people incredible experiences. Because that is an incredible skill. Every time you're working with people in any kind of capacity, being able to see problems through the prism of gaming and to understand people through the prism of gaming and complex problems through that idea of juggling resources and making decisions and getting as much information as you can to make choices for a future. That's pretty much any kind of job in the world, unless you're just blindly following orders. You're always going to be using your gaming skills. So don't be shy about them. Put them out there, put them on your resume, tell people you're a game designer, and be proud of that fact. You're not just a crazy nerd working away with tiny little men. You're building solutions. You're building understanding. You're building a better sense of the universe and giving that to other people as a gift. You're a teacher. You're an educator. You're an illuminator of the world. You're a kind of philosopher. You're a kind of engineer. So, what could be more exciting than that? I love talking about my gaming, and I love trying to engage people with that passion without trying to scare them off. And I think I do that because I love what I do, and I can see just how powerful it is. I hope you can see that too. I hope this has given you a glimmer of that. And then maybe you can take it out there and you can show it to other people, and that'll help you be inspired to keep being a game designer, because what you do is valuable, not just because of the games you produce, but the way those games shape people's brains and the way that you shape your own brain to be a smarter, more creative, more intelligent, more exciting, more passionate, more understanding human being that can make for a better civilization for all of us. We are all in this together. Let's make our brains better. Let's make games. Let's play games. Till next time, I'll see you later. Be good, pet dogs, play games, have fun.